Morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Thursday, and I hope it all finds you well out there. I've got bad news. I do. I hope you guys are going to be okay after I share with you what I have to share with you. It's going to be upsetting, but I want everybody to know it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Ellen DeGeneres and her girlfriend, well, actually, I guess, partner, have said goodbye. And they are leaving the United States and are heading to the UK with no plans to return. And they say the move was motivated because Donald Trump got reelected. So I know you guys are going to be heartbroken about this. Listen, it's okay. It's okay. These guys want to leave. Let them go, I say, and it's funny because remember, Ellen, she got real popular. I won't lie, she's funny at times. Remember, she had that big talk show, and everybody was like, oh, we love Ellen. And then all of her employees started filming her and how horrible she was to the people that produced her show and what a terrible human being she was. But I'm going to say good riddance to Ellen and her partner as they head over to England. You know what? Maybe this will start a thing because, a lot of them have threatened to leave, Jason. Maybe now that one of them's actually done it, we can get a wave of them. If enough of them leave, right, I guess we'll have more room for the illegals to be in the country, right? I mean, if we can get 11 million of them to leave, we can make a trade, right? Think about it. Like we could do a trade. All of you crazy lefties that want to leave, we'll replace you with one of the illegals and we'll call it even. What do you think? I mean, we could be onto something.
If people want to leave, they can leave, So this goes way back. I mean, this is beginning every 4 years you've got this. I remember all the way back in 2004, Alec Baldwin was going to leave the country if George Bush Jr. got reelected. I just, I don't have respect. How about this? If Ellen leaves, I respect her decision. I don't like when people pop off and they don't follow through. And here's the other thing. Why would you leave? Now Trump has to prove that he can do all this stuff he's magically going to do, and you could sit here in America and laugh at him when he fails, because it doesn't matter which side. They're all full of hot air, pumping people full of a bunch of stuff they're not going to get done. And meanwhile, Joe, we're here trying to tell people, hey, this is what's really going on. This is why you got to take care of your house and shut the TV off and just look at it, right, Joe? Shut the TV off, shut your phone off, think about it for a minute, and then the air will clear in your head when you shut off your screens.
Yeah. So goodbye to Ellen. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And I'm starting to become a big fan of Doge, right? Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, because now, like every day, they just post more nonsensical crap that our government is spending money on. We need less government. Listen, there's two things that need to happen. Less government, and I mean a lot less. How much less? I don't know, 90% less. That's how much less. And we need to get rid of the central bank, period. Go back to constitutional money. That's what this country needs. But the stupid spending of the day, they're saying that the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, apparently they were, they like to travel in style. A slew of waste and potential fraud $50,000 in unallowed first-class flights between 2020 and 2023. I know, $50,000. Like, the government spent $50,000 longer than it took me to say $50,000. But here's what's interesting. They said that you have to have special permission to fly first class. The only exceptions are medical and security concerns. Workers had proper approval for 4 of the 19 first-class flights that were reviewed. Now, that's not all the flights. That's just the ones that they reviewed. In one instance, now this one just blows my mind, an employee for the government spent $12,535 of taxpayer money when a $1,134 business class ticket was available. Now, I have no idea where they were flying. I don't know. I mean, I know airline tickets have gotten expensive, but wow, $12,000 for a first-class seat. The commission also failed to remove access to travel charge cards for 37 employees that no longer worked for the government. Yeah, that may be a problem. Hey, by the way, today was your last day. Can we get our credit card back? You may want to. Now, here's the good part. None of the former employees actually used the card. So good for them. Good for them. But, $50,000 here, $1 million there. It's all the same. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour, Joe and Jason on this Thursday. A quick look in at the markets. The Dow's now up 300 points. That just happened, so I'm not sure what was behind it. The S&P's up 14. The Nasdaq's down 76. We got NVIDIA earnings after the bell yesterday. Yeah, good. I mean, but not great for NVIDIA. Their shares are flat, so we're kind of at that apex here with them as far as all of that huge growth was concerned. The 10-year note at 441. Oil's up $1.30. Gold up again. Well, no surprise. We told you this yesterday. By the way, we've got more great gold specials coming up. Gold's up 20, 26.70 in rising. Silver's flat on the day, just below $31 as we had another struggle yesterday in the auction markets. The 20-year note, we'll get to that. But we keep talking to you about being diversified, minimizing the risk that is out there, especially the older you get, the less risk you should be taking. I mean, maybe, hey, listen, if you're 20, 25, 30, you know what? Maybe you can be a little more risky. When you're 50, 60, 70, a dangerous place to be. Do not fall into the trap here as you approach retirement and end up getting whacked by the bubble. You're sitting there with big money in your bank. What are you doing? You're going long the dollar? Really? I mean, how many? I don't know that a week goes by now where we don't have at least one terrible auction. And I mean terrible. Forget about bad. We've now decided that bad auctions are okay. Right? That's kind of the new normal now. It's coming. And no, and I've said this a bunch. I think the Trump administration, listen, there's going to be a lot of exciting stuff. There's going to be. I mean, already, just as nominees are exciting. Love them or hate them, they're exciting. But he can't fix this. Jamie Dimon, all of them. I mean, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, all the billionaires, they all tell you the same thing. Right? We got two choices. Try to inflate out or actually try to rein in the government. And you can't do both, right? It just doesn't work that way. Be more diversified than you've ever been. You got big IRAs out there. You got big money in the bank. Get gold and silver put away. But then that's not enough. It's not enough. Check out our friends over at Y Refi. Why? Because you get up to 10.25% fixed rate of return. That's not correlated to Wall Street. Doesn't care about the Fed. Doesn't care about the war. Doesn't even care about the crappy auctions. They don't. They don't care. You can use it as income. Boy, I think that's going to be really important later in life. I'm just telling you. Inflation's not gone, and it's coming again. Get ready. Be prepared. Listen. Like Jason said, shut off the noise and just look at it honestly. You see what's happening. The Fed's cutting rates, and the rates keep going higher. Why? Well, you know why. Check them out. InvestYRefi.com. That's the word invest, the letter Y, REFY.com. Or just call them at 888-YREFI24. Why? Well, let's look at this nuclear commission. Do you know that technically they're allowed to spend $5 million in a single month on flights? What? Yeah. I only bring that up because what their average a month in flights I thought was outrageous. $358,190 on airline tickets. Have they not heard of Zoom? Right? Have they not heard of this? Does the government not have that? We've got to spend $358,000 on this nuclear regulatory commission. By the way, in total, employees put 161,816 charges worth over $27 million on their travel charge cards from 2020 to 2023. But here's the worst part. Half of that came just last year, right? In 2023, so it's getting worse. Oh man, Jason, but this is the reason, right? This is what happens. And again, all of the things that we keep, it's almost like every day. Here's a new thing, right? Blah 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 blah. None of these things really add up to a whole lot when it comes to people. The deficit's $2 trillion. The deficit's $2.5 trillion. People have no concept of what that means, right? They've lost the concept of it. I mean, all of us, I think, would say $27 million is a lot of money. $358,000 in a month to travel is a lot of money. But yet, somehow we think that this is going to save us all. And here's the problem, right? The problem, Jason, right, with a lot of this is you take away all of this nonsensical spending, what happens, right? We've got way too many regulations. We got way too many employees. I don't know. This thing is shaping up to be an absolute monster. Today we got jobless claims today. The same, you know what? 217,000, 213,000, 215,000, right? It's the same every single week again. Continuing claims hit a 3-year high. So that is the one thing, I guess, that is growing according to the government numbers. I don't know what is going on in California. They somehow had, negative 30,000 jobless. I don't know how you could have a negative jobless claims number, but the government does. They leave it to the government. Apparently, I don't know. How does that happen? Oh, we're sorry. We're not filing for an unemployment claim. You think, okay, well, that would be zero, right? If nobody filed for a jobless claim, that would be zero. But in the government numbers, do you know how many states, just last week, just take last week's number. They do this every week, and it's just, I don't know, California had this crazy number this week, so it stood out. But we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 states somehow reported that they had negative first-time jobless claims. So this is the data. Oh, wait, did I say 30? I'm wrong. I'm sorry. That was the week before. So the week of November 16th, we had 30 states say that they had negative jobless claims. How do you have negative jobless claims, Jason? I don't understand. Right? What, did you file for unemployment the week before and then say, oh, wait, I lied. I didn't get laid off? I mean, I don't know. Again. But I guess it's great. If you want the number to be the same every week, I guess that's how you do it, right? Somehow 30 states had negative jobless claims.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know how they compile the numbers. I'm sure if we
don't either.
I studied hard, I'm sure there's something deep in the language which would tell you how you get a negative number. And I'm guessing it has something to do with, what is the word they use when they change the number a month later? What is that? The reevaluation, whatever. The
revisions. We have to revise the number.
So those are revisions. Those are state-by-state revisions is my guess. That's a revision number. That's, I mean, if you had 60,000 job losses in, I don't know, Idaho, and then the next month you have only 10,000, but then 20,000 of last month's weren't real, then you have a negative 10,000, I guess, right? Is that?
I guess. That's the only guess I've got. I guess. I don't know.
That's the only guess I've got. That's the only way it works for me because of this whole revision thing. We get lagging numbers while the biggest, the brightest, and the richest get on-time numbers, I'm sure.
So yesterday we had to sell 20-year notes. This was only a $16 billion auction. The auction tailed horribly. I mean, it was a huge tail. The third tail in a row. The second biggest tail on record, barely missing the record. The bid to cover. So bid to cover, how many bids did they get? So if we only had $16 billion of bids for a $16 billion auction, that would be 1-to-1. This auction, like I said, we have now decided to go, bad auctions are now okay. And then anything worse than bad, it's terrible and worse and this and that. We always used to have bid to covers in the threes, right? So if it was a $16 billion auction, go back, 5-10 years ago, you'd have 50, 55, something like that, $1 billion worth of bids. Well, the new bad is about 2.6. So if you are now following on that would be about $41 billion. This one came in at 2.3. That's going back years to see when it was this bad. The internals, the indirects, took down 69% of the auction. That's well below the average. So this is, these longer papers, usually the indirects take down the most of it. The dealers, well, they were left with 14, almost 15% of the auction, the worst going back to May of 2021. Caused the 10-year note. Remember, the 10-year note we got into the 4.3s, and it's now back into the 4.4s. Jason, all of these auctions, we're continuing to watch them. They get a little worse, and a little worse, and a little worse. We're just waiting for when does the bow break in these auction markets. Patriot Radio News Hour will be back right after the break. We've got big specials coming up next. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason here on this Thursday. Right now you got gold at $2,668, up about $18 from where it was yesterday. Remember yesterday we ran a $20 gold piece and a 1-ounce silver bar. We put them together. The gold piece, $2,745. Right? Yesterday that was, $95? Pretty much about $95 over the melt value, over the spot price. Today, it's $77 over. I had 37 of them yesterday. We have 15 of them left. I'm going to keep the exact same price. So you're going to get a $20 gold piece for $2,745. $77 over spot. That's incredible. And then a 1-ounce silver bar at $30. By the way, that's under spot, right? Spot right now in silver is $30.80, right? So you get an ounce of gold, an ounce of silver, $27.75. You put it together, right? $26.68. Let's round up on silver, 31. Right, you're pretty much at $2,700, $26.99. But I mean, $2,700 is melt, right? You're an ounce, and now you're at $27.75. Jason, this is the biggest no-brainer we probably ever run. So we got 15 of those. And we don't have any more of those. And the reason really simple, I can't replace the 20s or the silver bars for that price. When we look at $20 gold pieces tomorrow, what are we going to be staring at? What, $28.75 at least, right? Probably close to $150 higher than right now. And then we have something unique. I'm going to call this if you're saying, hey, listen, I want to buy as close to spot as possible, right? With, like we just did in the special we just did. But I also need just in case stuff. Just in case, who knows what happens? EMP, revolution of whatever sort. Think about the Carolinas, right? These people, they're living in tents still, by the way, over in Carolina. I need to get things. Right? This is where you're talking about silver and fractionals and things of that nature. I put together a package here. I've only got 12 of these. You're going to get 2 rolls of silver $half, 2 rolls of silver quarters, 4 rolls of silver dimes. So you're going to be getting 14, almost 14 and a half, just under 14 and a half ounces of silver $half, 14 and a half ounces of silver quarters. Same with the silver dimes. You're going to be getting 43 ounces of silver. By the way, all under $33 an ounce. Yeah, super close to spot. And then one gram gold bar. By the way, that gram gold bar is under melt in this package at $85. I looked everywhere. One guy said, we're the cheapest price in the country on 1 gram gold bars, and if you bought, I forget how many hundreds of them, it was $115. Yeah, well, we got them in this set here for $85. So you're going to get 2 rolls of $half, 2 rolls of quarters, 4 rolls of dimes, super close to spot. Super close. And a 1 gram bar below melt, so below spot, for $1,525. I've got 12 of those. So I've got 15 packages where you get a $20 gold piece and a 1 ounce silver bar for $2,775. And then I've got 12 of what I'll just call this the great barter package, because it gives you a little bit of what you need. Especially with, hey, you don't know. There may be a guy out there, hey, I don't want silver, I want the gold. Well, great, I got you. I got a gram bar here to get it done. That one's $1,525 at 800-951-0592. Continue to add. By the way, Joe Biden now, see, and these are the things that just pop up that you never really know when it's coming, is now saying we need another $100 billion for essentially for FEMA, for disaster relief. This is money that hasn't been set aside, right, Jason? This just goes right to the debt, and they're going to get it, right? Because, you know, who in their right mind is going to vote down disaster relief money and get shamed to death? Another $100 billion that wasn't part of the fiscal year 2025 budget. And now Bloomberg, once again, warning about the huge Treasury borrowing leading to funding pressures, distortions in the bond market, in the credit market, and now all of a sudden, on top of, you got to remember, the Treasury just had to raise $125 billion. Now Joe Biden says, oh, wait, we need another $100 billion, right? And, of course, they're trying to spend all the money like crazy before Trump gets in. But, Jason, we're getting to this point where we're struggling at the $2 trillion level. And really the struggle started once we crossed the $1 trillion mark. It got tough. But now at $2 trillion, like I said, every week it's at least an auction, if not 2 or 3 a week, that are really bad, that are within a whisper of being a problem. What is it going to look like at $2.5 trillion? Heaven forbid, $3 trillion. And this is what Bloomberg is warning about. Get your gold put away. Both of these specials are off the charts. Grab them 800-951-0592. Jason and I, we're going to be right back. 800-951-0592. They are going quick. I'm trying to get an update on how many are left. I know this, that we've got at least 5 of the $20 Silver Eagle packages sold. At least that, and then we got people on the phone right now. So if you want to get in, you got to jump in here quickly. It's a $20 gold piece and a 1-ounce silver bar, $27.75. I've gone over. I mean, come on, you're basically buying it right, pretty much for spot, $75 over spot. I mean, give me a break. And then what I'll call the prepper special. We only had 12 of those, and I know at least 2 of those are gone. At $1,525, where you get 2 rolls of silver $half, 2 rolls of silver quarters, 4 rolls of silver dimes, and that 1 gram bar of gold, all for only $1,525 at 800-951-0592. And right on cue, the 10-year note now has jumped to 4.43. Maybe even round up here to 4.44. And I know we got auctions going on right now. You do the math. But here's what they're saying. And this is the biggest risk here. Because of the amounts, it's overwhelming. Bloomberg is warning. This is what Bank of America, Mark Cuban, has been warning about. And he likes to warn 6 months ahead of time. And he warned everybody like 3 months ago about, hey, guys, I don't know what the hell you're looking at. And it has to do with the dealers at these auctions. And they're talking about the embedded cost and having to put up collateral, i.e. leverage. And the fact that these dealers now are getting highly leveraged here. And the worry is a collapse in the bond price will send yields skyrocketing. They're saying that the spreads now. Now, this is something we don't talk about here. But this is the risk behind the market. And when you have the higher the spread, the bigger the risk. And literally, when I'm looking at the balance sheets of these dealers, going back to 2000, it is off the charts. The spreads have never been this high. Even going back to the financial crisis, they haven't been nowhere close to what's happening. And when you look at what's going on, the spread it's the difference between the swap rate and the bond yield of the equivalent maturity. In other words, what they're saying is, hey, these banks are sitting on massive losses, and the higher these bond yields go, the worse it's going to get. One of the big problems that these primary dealers are having, well, the market is having, is the primary dealers are becoming increasingly congested. What does that mean, increasingly congested? It just means, hey, we're running out of money. We're being forced to buy these maturities. And so what's going to happen as the money runs out? The answer's simple. Remember the 20-year note I was just telling you about, and I told you it had the big tail? And you guys know I've educated you, right? Tails are bad. That means that there weren't enough bids to buy the auction at the rate that the government put out there, which would be the prevailing rate at the time of the auction. And what's happening is these banks, these dealers, they put bids in. So the last part of the auction is being filled by them at these higher rates because they don't want the auction to go out of control. But as they run out of money, they can't bid as much. Hey, I know that this auction, hey, it's a $50 billion, whatever, 10-year auction. It's a $50 billion 10-year auction. And normally we'll put bids in, and who knows, maybe they'll put in $5 billion worth of bids. And, and the rest got to be sold somewhere else. We're going to take 10%. Well, it's a 10-year, they got to take like 20%. So that means they got to have $10 billion worth of bids out there. Well, we don't have $10 billion today. We only got 8 or 7. You know what happens? The tails get bigger. All of a sudden, instead of it being the second largest tail, it's a record. The largest tail on record. Next one, largest tail on record. Largest tail. And what happens? The yields just keep rising and rising and rising. And this is exactly what it is that all of these people that are actually in these auctions are screaming about. Remember what I said last week? The yields are going to go as high as they need to go to crash Wall Street. That's what's going to happen. And you know what? Gold's going to run the whole time. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. We're down to the last $20 gold piece and 1 ounce silver bar for $2,775. It's like $75 over spot. I mean, it's great. What a great opportunity there. And then what I'll call the prepper special. 2 rolls of halves, 2 rolls of quarters, 4 rolls of dimes, and a 1 gram gold bar for $1,525 at 800-951-0592. And Bloomberg just put this chart up. People may remember, Jason, I know you'll remember the temper tantrum. That was when B of A, Mark Cubana,
the taper tantrum, right?
The taper tantrum. Sorry, yeah. The taper tantrum right before COVID hit. And 6 months before that, Cubana had wrote a letter. Right? He did the same thing last month again. Bloomberg just put a chart up that the primary dealers' balance sheets are now almost right where they were the last taper tantrum. I'm just I'm taking a guess here. February or March, I think the Fed is going to be forced to do a couple of things. Number one, stop the $25 billion runoff. Hopefully this time they're a little smarter, and instead of it being an emergency, just start quantitative easing again. I don't know that they will, but you're going to see, Jason yesterday was talking about, hey, we're going to have another big leg up in 2025. This is probably one of the places to look right here. The primary dealers are just running out of slack here. And the problem, it's overwhelming. The auctions are overwhelming. The size, the amount that the government needs is overwhelming. Remember, Janet Yellen's already said, hey, come February, the end of February, we need to increase auction sizes again. We have to do it. And at the same time, now Joe Biden, yes, we need another $100 billion for disaster relief. Jason, the math just doesn't add up. Figure this out. I know you're excited and Donald Trump, and it's great. It is. Protect yourself here. Get either one of these. You cannot go wrong with these specials today. They're just outrageously good today. $20 gold piece, 1 ounce silver bar, $27.75. And that prepper special, 2 rolls of halves, 2 rolls of quarters, 4 rolls of dimes, and a 1 gram gold bar for $15.25 at 800-951-0592. Jason, we've done our job. You've been warned.
Yeah.
This is a simple math problem. There's just too much issuance, and the dealers are out of money. I mean, the math's simple.
I think next year is looking pretty bizarre and pretty sad, Joe. I'm looking at what's
a lot of
next year's
inflation.
government.
It's just a lot of inflation. I mean,
I think there's a lot of funny
ease.
games.
Yeah,
there's a lot of games.
The Fed's going to have to ease. People just don't figure it out. This is what's coming. Oh, God, it drives me nuts. Even an idiot could figure